Looks like we're live. Hey guys, just giving a second. Hey Coach Kathy, hey Third Eye Trader. Can y'all hear me okay? Looks like we're live. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just got internet set up at this new place, so I'm not sure. Hopefully it's gonna be good enough to do this, but we shall see. Try closing a few things. Perfect. Hey Kevin, thanks for joining.
How are you doing today?
Doing just fine. Thank you for asking. Well, it's just you. Did you have any? And we got Michael too. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Anyone got anything we want to jump into today? Anything on your mind? Perfect. Yeah, people can hear me fine. The video is kind of choppy, saying I'm not getting enough video. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure if the bandwidth's high enough to make it smooth. Oh well, but the audio is fine, so that's all that really matters. On Waves, Laura, Tiger Lily. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Joel, hey brother, thanks for joining. Of course.
and bananas, and I always was full of energy, and you know, and then of course I moved back to the United States, and put on quite a few pounds and stuff, um, so anyway, so I went to the store the other day, and I bought a bunch of apples. I really like apples and watermelon and bananas. And my wife keeps telling me, she says, "Hey, what kind of diet are you on?" I was telling her, it's just really not a diet. It's just a change. I guess it is a diet, but just changing what I'm putting into my body. And
Mhm.
she's so adamant that I'm not doing it right. She says, "Hey, you're not doing it right." Because new keto diet or Atkins diet or whatever. And I actually feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I feel better. I feel I feel clean. I feel like I have a little bit more energy. I feel more coherent. And can you? I mean, is it okay just to like? I mean, sometimes I'll eat 8 or 10 apples a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all I'll eat. Do you see anything wrong with that? I mean, as far as
No.
not getting your nutrition. I mean, will that sustain you?
Sustain you at 100%. And the great thing about fruit is there's no amount that's too much. So if you feel like you need to eat more, then just eat more fruit. But the only thing that our body needs is glucose, which is the fuel that it uses to create everything else that's within our body. It's like vitamins and minerals and supplements and people get so carried away with trying to not get enough of that. And what's like No, we just have to provide the fuel for our body and get out of its way, stop toxifying it, and it makes everything for us. So yeah, you're doing everything perfectly, and just to respond to her, that's the best thing you can do is like, well, I don't, it doesn't really matter what anyone else says. Like, I feel great. Of stepping back into our sovereignty and saying it's not about what some expert or some scientist or some paid shill basically has told me that is the best thing for my health. It's about me discovering what truly is the best thing, and fruit is the optimal form. And anyone who seriously walks on this path will give it time. It does take time to shift away from the carnal diet or the traditional societal diet that we've been programmed to believe is best. So it does take some time, and there will be some uncomfortable shifting away from that diet. But as soon as you get fully onto the fruit, there is no better feeling. There is
Yeah,
absolutely no better feeling.
I do agree. I do agree. But okay, so her rebuttal was, she was like, hey, she remembered years ago about she was trying to get me to quit eating so much meat or whatever, and then so I was like, babe, our brains are made out of cholesterol. We're made to eat this. So she kind of threw that back at me, and then she was like, hey, you need protein, you need, cholesterol in your diet. I mean, what would you say to that if somebody came out to you with
Same
that
thing.
type of rebuttal?
Same thing. The fruit provides the fuel, and our body provides the rest. That's all. It's so simple. We just have to give the fuel to our body, and it does literally everything else. It regulates
Okay. So we don't
cholesterol. We don't need
do we
protein.
not need protein?
No,
Okay, okay, that's
absolutely
no.
not. Protein is, when we consume protein, all we're doing is just adding toil on our body. We're providing some substance that it has a difficult time processing, so it encourages acidosis. It raises our acidity, and that's why people who eat a lot of meat are like kind of meaty. They're bloated because eating all that protein just adds a lot of just like substance to them, but it's not real muscle mass and it's not real. It's just weight. So when you get on the
Not
frugivore
to
diet,
mention,
it you do slim up a lot, but you don't lose the strength. You maintain your muscles just become a lot more refined and slimmer. So again,
oh,
I wouldn't spend too much time trying to convince it, just be that example and just continue to say, hey, this is what feels best, and I'm going to continue to explore it and step into it. And it doesn't really matter what anyone says or how anyone puts it across. Like I'm the one who
awesome,
who who figures that out, right?
awesome, awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Well, thanks for hopping on. Anyone else, or were there any questions from you? Anyone else got anything?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, that's all I had. Especially the protein thing. I didn't really know what to tell her, but that makes sense. Because I know that protein nowadays contains a lot of that.
Yeah, I
What do they
mean,
call them? The artificial growth hormones and stuff
right.
like that. So it's just like I'm trying to stay away from. I'm getting older. I'm in mid 40s. And I just I don't want all that. Just well, it seems like it's cumbersome. You don't need all that stuff.
Yeah, there's absolutely no need. Protein is one of the biggest myths that's pushed in regards to our health. We do not need it at all. Our body makes it. We get the base forms of it through the fruit, and our body does the rest. So yeah, there's no need to supplement at all.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks again, Justin.
Hey, Justin.
Hey,
Hey, how are you guys?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, John? Good to hear from you.
Oh, good. Do
Oh, no problem.
well. I just thought of something now that I hear you guys speak. What is the history of meat then? And did we get bamboozled at some point in history, or was there a historical time where they just sat around and ate fruit, and then gradually the cabal added stuff? Or what do you think?
It's so hard to say where we got everything in our history is complete fabrication. It's all a lie. I mean, even just 200 years ago, we have no idea what happened to these Tartarian civilizations that built over our plane, and the civilization just kind of disappeared, and we don't know really what happened to them. So we've just been lied to about so much. So it's hard to say where we were. Um, but I know that it's the invention of the corporation has helped to lure people away from the golden zone where we can grow fruit year round, isolated areas where food is less abundant. Then people do sort of turn towards other sources of food, um, but they're horrible. Like you look at any culture, any native tribe that's primarily meat eaters, and life expectancy is like 30 to 40 years. So like it shows itself very clearly that meat is not optimal for us at all. But I don't really have any details specifically but it's just a sort of allegory of us deviating away from the Garden of Eden, us and given to us, and stepping out into the carnal world where we rape and pillage and take, um, and so we just have to go back to that ever abundantly giving mother and father who are just where you're getting them from. Like it might be helpful when you're transitioning to get away from, to help rebalance things a little bit quicker, to focus in on what you're consuming and taking certain herbs to get to a space. But overall, it's so simple. We just eat the fruit and everything else is provided for us.
Okay. Well, thanks. Then I have another question, but I'll wait and let someone else go first.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, John. Anyone else got a question or topic they want to get into? If not, we can let John go again.
COVID and everything, I started kind of losing touch with most of my old friends because they were all, the more sheeple type and COVID believers. And then I was more and more hanging out with rally freedom people, and they're all my new friends now. And after listening to you guys for so much, that's been really resonating with me in terms of spiritual path. And but then the people around here who are my good friends, uh, they're so into kind of new age stuff that there's a not pressure, but kind of like trying to influence me a little bit, like saying, "Oh, you need to magnetize. You need to what do you call it? Attract. You need to concentrate on something and let it appear." And kind of new age things where you
Hmm.
concentrate on money and then you get what
Hmm.
you want, or you think
Yeah,
of
law of
a kind
attraction
of
kind of
woman you
stuff.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really like it. Like it doesn't really resonate because I used to do that 30 years ago, and I don't know. So I don't know what you think about that. I think it leads us to a dead end, but maybe you can talk.
Well, there's there's truth to it, but it's spun with a lot of lies in the New Age community, and it's steered towards Satanism, if just to be blunt. Like the the, the I forget the name of the woman who was all about the law of attraction, and she got into that quite a bit, but um it was very occulted. It's occulted knowledge that they're using and to steer people into this satanic mindset of service to self above all else, to where I'm pursuing my selfish intents, my egotistical intents above anything else. And there is power to be gained when that you can actually bestow your conscious intent on something and increase the likelihood that it's going to happen. But when we do it in this way to where we're just seeking material things and seeking to yeah, it's very left brain to try and do that, and ultimately it is steering us down that darker path. Whereas the correct or the right way to do it, to follow the right hand path, is to in the book of Matthew, Jesus speaks about, considering the birds and the lilies, and how they don't have to toil, they don't worry about it, because God knows everything. God knows everything that's in our heart's desires. He knows everything that we want. He knows everything that we need. And so the more that we can just go into that full state of trust, and that is the place to be. That's that full stillness and silence meditative state, to where God can truly work through us and always lead us to that place of maximum abundance. And then we truly do manifest all of our wildest dreams, because that's part of the rewards that are built into it. But if we try and artificially steer it, we're just kind of end in that we're toiling, trying to steer things, and it has the uncanny side effect of eventually leading you down a sort of more satanic pursuit of power and control and those sorts of things. So they are something to be wary of. Like there's truth within them, but for the most part, they're the next thing to try and hijack consciousness into their darker path.
Yeah, very well said. Because it just doesn't resonate with me when you said that the part about left brain going cycling, and then I feel guilty if I haven't done those new agey
Hmm.
chants and repetitions. I'm like, oh, I should be doing more of that. That's why things aren't going well. Instead of just the other path, which I love way more, which you described, which is you take no thought
Hmm.
and God knows.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for
of
speaking about
course.
that.
Yeah, the more that we lean into that, the more that we trust, the easier it is for God to just lead us. And because we're like basically getting our ego is this thing that is always trying to insert itself between us and God. And
Mm,
and so the more that we can let go of that ego, we just remove that barrier so God can just truly work through us, and God is just us, it's just our higher self, our highest self. Like it's just the one infinite consciousness that we're all a part of. So of course it has the same desires and intents and creative essence that we do, but even on a grander scale because it sees more. God sees all. So if we just let God lead, then of course we're going to be led to that space of maximum potential, which is the best space that we want to be. It's the space we just have to get out of the way. That's all.
yeah. And I love that parable a few weeks ago where the guy he wants the Maserati, but he
Mm,
doesn't get it and he gets a Bible instead.
yeah.
That's kind of changed my life because I was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe there's all these gifts out there and I just can't see them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. All right, thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Okay, brother.
All right. I heard Colin kind of chiming in a little bit. Did you have something to say, or Joel?
Yeah, I didn't realize it wasn't muted, but
Oh, no
I did
worries.
have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, so I've had my dog for about 3 years now, and he's been vegan the whole time, which is kind of
Nice.
triggering to a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I really like it's got gluten and soy, and it's probably got corn in there and some other shit. Like it, I live in Scotland. It's way too hard to buy fruit for the dog and my
Mm.
whole family. It's really expensive. Like what would you recommend? Like, is there a really cheap fruit we can give them or something?
Yeah, so you can, it's like for dogs, but you can look to vegetables as well. So I'll often get my dog's completely raw. So I do veggies and fruits, but more fruits now. But I've done plenty of veggies before, and a great one is if you've got a good blender, just get raw sweet potatoes, or you can lightly steam them if you want to cook them
Yeah.
a little bit. But sweet potatoes are fantastic and they're inexpensive, and you can blend those up with avocados aren't the cheapest, but carrots or,
Mm-hmm. You
and
love
just,
broccoli as well.
yeah, broccoli's great. And just experiment with what foods they do like. Like my dog loves cucumber and for kind of what the best deal is on things that she loves. And then I'll just get a bunch of that. But I do cycle her food quite a bit, and just depending on what I have access to. And I tend to agree that we should steer away from giving dogs like the gluten and even the
Yeah.
legumes and the grains and things like that. Like it's one thing, Charlie, they have to kind of do that just because of the amount of dogs. Like they
Mm-hmm.
until we get what to do with, um, they've got to go that route just because of the economics of the situation. But if you just have one or two dogs, like it's much easier that raw food or slightly cooked food. You can go with steaming things like, and dogs love potatoes but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think sweet potatoes are a little bit better, more expensive. So that's a good option. Carrots are cheap. Yeah, broccoli's not too
Yeah.
bad. And then yeah,
Yeah. He loves carrots as well.
yeah, and just if you got a food processor and you want to keep it kind of chunky, they love that. Or if you just want to blend it up, and feed it like that. Some dogs are picky about textures, so you just have to experiment with. There's no problem, just gobbling up a little bowl full of veggie smoothie or fruit smoothie. So yeah.
Also, I guess we're moving to mostly organic everything, unless it's like a watermelon, but at least it's seeded. So would you recommend getting organic stuff for the pets as well? Like that's going to be even more expensive.
You know, it just depends. Like, just do the best you can. Just do the best you
Yeah.
can with where you are, and like that's that's the best we can do. And
Yeah.
like Charlie always said, God loves a trier. So as long as we are our conscious intent is to say, you know what, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not holding back just because or whatever. Organic, that's great. Um,
Mhm.
just get really creative with like what you do with scraps.
Yeah.
And I literally try feeding my dog any piece of raw produce that I'm working with. I try giving her a bit just to see if she likes it. And if she likes it, then I'll give her a lot more. So just keep
Yeah.
experimenting. That's great because if you've ever got leftover or you made too much smoothie or whatever else, like you can just give it to the dog and she loves
Yeah.
it.
We're doing the job.
Fruits, you know, fruits ideal, but vegetables, like uh, our dogs are not seeking elevated forms. I mean, they are seeking, you know, they will gain in forms of consciousness, but it's not quite the same. So our raw
Yeah.
vegetables detrimental, and I think even dogs are because they're on the ground, like they do dig up root vegetables and things like that, so they're more inclined to eat these kind of foods on a regular basis anyway. So that's why I think carrots and sweet potatoes and things like that are perfectly fine for dogs as well.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Joel, did you have something?
Yeah, sure. I was gonna just comment on a couple things I heard.
Yeah.
Just in a personal, just knowing people and their intentions to have money, and the manifestation that goes into that, and just in a logistic level, just watching so many of my dynamic friends with such incredible energy, suddenly get a lot of money, and just what it's done to their life is, it's really difficult to watch, and they know it. They know that they were living in a more day to day, moment to moment way, and they didn't feel this comfort or security around this illusion of money. They were more liberated. They were happier people, and they can't let it go, and they can't give it away, and they can't find a way to be freed from that heavy energy. And shamans say that money is the heaviest energy you can carry. So how we choose, this is such a delicate affair, what we get ourselves into in this world, and into how do we extract ourselves in a holistic way without you know upsetting people, or just being holistic, not just with ourselves but with the people that we've come to know. Egos around the same things, and when we start to extract ourselves from hypnosis, it affects people. And so, like what Q Ball was talking about, like his wife is probably very threatened, as she should be, by getting pulled out of hypnosis, because it is a delicate affair. And so be able to resonate with fruit, with being a frugivore, as a way, or the way to be, because behind that hypnosis is another, all these other kinds of hypnosis. And so if we can be aware of that when we're working with our spouses and friends and stuff, then we won't be so trying to shove the information in their face and trying to get them to real. We'll be more holistically conscious around the hypnosis and the struggle that they're going through, and then sort of the compassion in our voice and in our discussions. And so rather than be information based, we end up going into a more energy, just supportive place, and then allow, like you said, just what we are doing to be the proof, rather than.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's perfect. I mean, you talking about money and how it can drag us in. I mean, it's the same with any of these sort of physical temptations that we dance with. It's like we ask to experience what they are like and to utilize them, like with the foods and money and anything of the physical. We ask to experience it, but they're always they have a level of a layer of challenge to them because they can be very um, like we can become intoxicated with them and where we lose ourselves and we get drug into them and we sort of start to go the opposite direction on the path that we were wanting to get, that we signed up for. We wanted it to be a little difficult so that we'd have these temptations to overcome and move past, and um, it just adds a layer to the game that makes it a little bit more fun. But it is very important, excuse me, to be aware of. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's everybody's doing their thing,
Hmm.
and everything that everyone does is gnosis. It's information for us as an
Mhm.
individual, because we're actually alone in this like dream, and
Right.
we think we're all in it together, and we'll find out the truth of that later, truly. But for now, our intuition tells us that there's more to this than what we are seeing. Shamans that have taken that glimpse, and what they come back and share, it's really, oh, they're preparing us. They're telling us they have unbending intent. They have this very
Probably got
specific
corn in
energy
there.
to them as we
So my
spend
dogs can,
time in that
you know,
He
and
energy
loves
just,
and get to
broccoli
know
as
those
well.
feelings. It
cycle her
just
food
dawns
quite a
on us
bit,
that there's
and
just so for ourselves, and our seer starts to surface
mm,
and starts to tell us things. And that seer is actually it's shy and a little bitter for not being the one that's running the show.
right.
And so it can be a little frustrating to work with your seer, because it retreats, and the seer really needs to know about getting out of the way, and that you want the seer to guide, because you know that the seer within is the direct energetic connection to source.
Mm,
And so this is, for shamans, it's not just about opening to God, and it's a really delicate aspect of coming to terms with the multiple faceted nature of our energetic structure, which they've been observing for eons of time. And as far as like going back into history and finding out how they lied to us, shamans have kept an oral history, and people that have access to it through gnosis or through dreaming have very. So cannibalism was going on a long time ago. Blood addiction has been going on for so fucking long. So that we're in an, all of our history is total bullshit, because
mm,
shamans know about 30,000 years ago where in cannibalism and sorcery, and it was no joke. It was full on. This world was a place of power, and it still is.
mhm.
We've somehow been convinced that this is no longer a realm of power, and that the mundane has more power than the power of the sentient nature of life. And that's how powerful the hypnosis is. So we're heading into a time where these things will become clear to those that are purified. And then our genetic memory will return, and we won't be different beings to give us concepts to consider. We will start to directly know. And that's what's so beautiful about what's coming. And that's why it's so critical right now to just be at peace, or to find harmony, and not try to force or rush or change your life drastically to keep up, or to try to resolve something or run from something, because everything's there in place for these really critical lessons that we need in order to travel efficiently and effectively as lucid to this next cycle.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's all perfect. Every little bit is perfect, and so we should just see it for as it is, and truly cherish where we are, and yeah, just enjoy the ride. Thanks, Joel. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Anyone else got anything to add, contribute, questions, comments, discussion?
Actually just got here, so I just want to thank you for Justin. I watched you and Charlie, and I love your spirit. That's what I spirit, and yours is somebody. It seems so. Thank you. I just got here, so I'm just gonna go back to listening. It's okay.
Well, thanks, brother. I really appreciate that. It means a lot because that's what that's what I love to do. That's my dream, is to connect. I love creating connections between others, and I love connecting with others. It's yeah, it's beautiful. It really is a beautiful experience. So thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you for saying I'm truly honored.
Well, I hope you decide to do more chats, because that seems to be a phenomenon, especially in Telegram, and I think, a lot of us have been, kind of just been absorbing a lot of information. For me, it's been really over my lifetime. I went up against the IRS back in the 80s, so I was kind of a truther early on in my life. But in terms of what happened when the internet came around, it certainly gave the opportunity to a lot of other truthers that had firsthand information to all the fraud that we've all been exposed to. And it's going to be people like you and Charlie, and just I think there's literally thousands growing into millions that are getting out there and sharing their scene with each other with those stories.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's and that's why it's so vital that each and every, don't just look to me to be doing this. I love helping people find their voice and get people to get in touch with. There's not this barrier between whoever's the content creator and whatever they create is just it, and there's no conversation involved. But no, I love conversing with people. There's no question or topic that's off limit. There's no question that someone can't ask me that I won't answer honestly, and that's the kind of way that we can demo that truth and transparency so that we can all step into that, because that's the foundation, as Charlie says. Like, truth has to be the foundation. Like, the New Age community likes to go with this love and light kind of stuff, but if we don't have the truth there, then it's meaningless. Love and light can be easily distorted. It has to be started with the truth. So thank you again, brother. Thank you for your words. That truly does mean a lot.
I'm just encouraged by yourself and others who are stepping up and leading the way with creating these abilities. And it's part of our healing. It's part of our awakening to connect and realize you're not just a lonely ship in this big sea of the sea. We're connecting and sharing and realizing that everybody was created uniquely different, beautifully different, and our stories are all individual stories, and nobody's story is the same, which I think is a testimony to the power of the Creator that made us.
Yes.
And you connect spiritually with people in that spirit of the Creator, and realizing that, yes, we were created to be love. We were created to be a love energy. And that's why you and Charlie and others, when you listen to you say that's the energy you want to be connected to for the rest of your life. It's a negative energy. And I'll share this with you about Charlie. When this whole thing started, this whole fraud in the election and everything, and you're listening to Charlie and you say, wow, Charlie is way out there ahead of this, and you're listening to him and you're saying, now Charlie has got to have insight, and he must be connected to a consciousness that is available for everybody to be getting connected to that consciousness, and you're connected to that consciousness. And listen to Charlie, talking about the things that have happened and that are going to happen was really the source of great hope that we were listening to the truth here. And it's been an incredible journey. It's been an incredible ride. And I'll share this last thing with you, is that, when I started listening to Charlie and now you about, that we were consuming fruit and vegetables, that we were not really designed to be meat eaters, that this is something that got introduced to me. But I went on a cleanse there. I mean, Charlie convinced me, and I went on the cleanse, and it was huge. And now the transition permanent, not just not a 30 or 60-day fast. And our numbers and Charlie's numbers grow because we are going to need that kind of leadership. People, medical industry, and the science, everything, every aspect of our life has been just total fraud. And now you listen to somebody like Charlie and you're saying, how are we going to move this whole entire creation into that understanding that we need huge changes here, because we can't expect government to do it. So we're going to need Justin, and we're the big voices for it. So thank you.
And we need John too. We need John as well, and that's where it's see people stepping forward and yeah, just speaking like you are like it's so wonderful to hear. It's so incredible to witness. That's why the truth resonates so much because it's this familiarity because we all know it. We're all connected to it. God never left us. God is the truth, but we just have to get out of our way so that we can hear it. And that's why I and so many gravitated towards Charlie's teachings because he was, oh, let me give you this information that I heard and may or may hear buy a subscription or buy this course or whatever else. But no, here comes Charlie and he's like, yeah, the truth is within you. You don't have to pay anyone. It's all free. It's really simple to get there. I mean, it takes work. We have deviated very far away from that central space. But when you boil it down, it's very simple. It's very, very simple. And generations to come, when we've gotten back to this way of being from the start, and we're not just tortured and toxified from the very beginning, it's going to be so simple. Like we'll just be there and then we'll just keep growing. We'll just keep going and going and going. There's no limit to it. There's no limit to our abilities. There's no limit to this creative essence that we're all tapped into and all a part of. So it's just going to be this experience where we just get to grow and create abundantly to our heart's content. As long as we're not causing harm to another, then so thanks, brother. I appreciate you again. All right.
I'm gonna be looking for chats. I'm gonna be looking for chats all the time from you now. You know that.
Well, now that I'm a little more settled, I do hope to be doing this at least once a week, and get a consistent schedule going too, just so people can have something to look forward to. But I do like alternating as well because I know we have people from all over the world, just to give people more opportunity to join. But thank you for the prompt to do these. So thank you for that. Topics or questions or comments or
Hi, Justin.
hey, Sandra.
Usually I catch you guys on the videos. I'm not really around for lives, but
Thank you.
your calming personality, I totally resonate with that. Um, I've been on a spiritual journey for a long time. Actually, when I look back, I've probably been most of my life.
Mm,
This past year has definitely time to look within for sure.
right.
And yeah, I just found, I didn't even know where I found Charlie and Colleen. And then obviously through them, I found you and Marie, and it's just it's a daily thing. I look forward to listening to you, and it gives me hope that there's this path that I was on, but solidified.
Mm,
And then just even the vegetable police, he's based out of Toronto, and I'm not too far away from Toronto.
oh, nice.
And just listening to his perspective, and I, it's uplifting for sure.
Well, thank you.
I actually work in healthcare, and for many years before this, I was always, I don't want to take care of sick people, but they actually need me. So I would be, instead of just taking care of them physically, would be taking care of them emotionally, spiritually. So
Beautiful.
now hearing all of you guys, and my goal is to come down to Mexico. And
Yay.
even though I haven't been there, I've been to the Dominican, but not Mexico. But just the whole idea of, the fruit and lifestyle is just very appealing. But
Mm,
right now, I think a lot of people need that light, that beacon of light. Just as much as I would like to leave, I think that my service right now is more needed. Um, it's amazing how many people are asleep, especially, and it's a struggle for me to go to work and not say too many things, um, even though it's my truth or it is the truth. Um, when you see that wall, and I'm not the type to like break down the wall. You'll find out at some point. And I've said little things here and there to people, and had them think. And I think that's the thing. Instead of trying to convince them or beat them over the head, which I initially tried to, you need to just like, well, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that?
mhm.
And hopefully that wakes them up. But just the loving compassion towards people that are laying in a bed that can't move, um, they're not healthy. Holding someone as simple as bathing them. I put so much love into that, and I hope that gets them to a better place. At least they know that someone out there does just get jaded and not see the person in front of you.
Hmm.
You just see the physical body. So, but and so then when I come home from work, charge, my cup gets full.
Beautiful. Wow, what a beautiful testimony. Thank you for sharing that, sister. That's amazing. Yeah, and I would just say that, yeah, just for anyone looking to come join us here in Mexico, it is going to take some time. It's going to be, I would say we're not really looking anytime this year before we're set. Like we want to get to the space to where we can just have people come freely, stay in a tent, or even have like it's very much in this place of the martyr, and the martyr is very much a construct that our ego likes to take on to keep us into a state of less potential, to keep us from growing. So I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case with you, and only each of us can know where God is leading us in any particular moment. But I would just say, just be mindful of this martyr mentality where I'm always giving, 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 and never taking time to um, really shine myself and to get into that space where I can be that strongest beacon possible because help anyone until we are in that space of maximum potential. So I would just throw that out there, just something to consider. That was just something that came up. But truly, thank you for your service and thank you for doing that. Thank you for supporting people in need in that capacity and just providing that that care. Like the cabal loves to perform their cremation of care, where they just obliterate it out of every aspect of our society, so that no one cares for each other. Excuse me. Um, so thank you for bringing that back into a healthcare corporation, which has rooted out of it. So you're providing that spark of influence that um, will hopefully grow or at least maintain a level until we can establish better systems in that. So thank you, sister, and thank you for sharing once again.
Thank you for that, Justin. I do realize, yeah, that that martyr system. I definitely was that before being the oldest. Thought it was my job to, things like that. And then my children, I realized that I need to take care of myself and have been doing that.
Beautiful.
And yeah, just knowing that, yeah, obviously you can't help anybody if you're not in perfect condition yourself. So yeah, I do realize that, but I also know that I can be that light in a situation. And it won't happen soon that I'm coming to Mexico. I do have 3 kids still at home, but that's my goal. My goal.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to meet you in person.
Yeah, hugs are so beautiful to look forward to and anticipate. So thank you for sharing. And yeah,
I'm a hugger too, so I understand that. Horrible because I miss hugging people. That's I think the worst thing about all of this. But yes, I'll give you a great big hug when I meet you in person.
beautiful. Awesome, sister. Well, thank you and love you so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
All right. Got something on your mind? Hey, Kathy.
Can you hear me okay? Hey.
Yeah.
So I love these impromptus. Thank you for doing that. I wanted to just encourage people. I know Charlie has Ghost Ezra on Telegram. You probably do too, Justin. What's happening? It truly is the waiting game that's been driving us all crazy. Every aspect, if we look at it, we recognize, man, to see things, not be told. So I really want to encourage everyone in regard to us reaching out to people because, and I at this time now recognize that as cabal. There's no doubt that they created that diet to really inflict upon the Mother Earth so greatly, with everything being about meat. So I'm a person who was a true hard fast carnivore. And in November, God just started weaning me from meat. I'd look at it, I'd look at the check. There was no interest. And God's speaking to each one of us, and there's no judgment whatsoever. And I cold turkey did no meat whatsoever. And now I'm able to use my voice. And Ezra really encouraged me because he did make a post with the magnet and showing, no, it really is. And he took it out all that, right? So it's that visual. So what happened in the chat blew up. And to go through there, I would think, Justin, you and Charlie and Ever just been jumping up and down and going, oh my goodness, there is serious conversation going on that people are considering that meat may not be what they should be doing. So really, everyone, be encouraged. If it's one person you can affect. So yesterday I did a live on Facebook. I have a juicer that I absolutely juicing so easy. And I've been letting people know I've gone from keto to now, fruit, basically fruit. And I haven't said the word fruitarian really. And it's just knowing that we each have a space, and I sit there and I can't tell him, don't eat it. But it's that prayer of, Lord, just keep working on him. All he wants is fruit. So
Amazing.
So I just wanted to say, so Justin, thank you. And so there wasn't a question. It's don't lose heart, everyone. Keep filling your space, take care of you, have that connection to God. And then just watch as he draws people to no judgment. I mean, my kids are really good. They know I don't have meat and they respect that. But there's no conversation anywhere that I'm asking them to do that at all. And it's just through example, I believe. So anyway, I love you. Love you. Love you.
I love you too. Wow, amazing. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. That was beautifully said. I'm always curious what people recommend.
I just did a video on it. And I think I put the link in a Telegram chat. Coach Kathy Fitness is my YouTube. So it's Vinci, Vinci. What it does, I have 3 shoulder surgeries on my right shoulder from volleyball coaching 24 years. So doing juicing, even kind of holding just having one that kind of does it on its own, but I'm still having to put pressure on it, was really painful. So this one, you cut it, you put it on, there's a dome. I love it. It's like, yeah, we live on a flat earth. Here's the dome. And it forces, the machine forces the liquid out, and every drop of liquid is gone, every drop of juice. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, is it one of those that spins really fast?
Well, and it kind of, I mean, it's not super loud. It's
Is that how
it was
it works?
$100.
So it spins really fast and just kind of grinds it up.
Spins fast, it goes up high, yep, and then comes down, and all the juice is released.
Okay.
Super easy to clean. It will make juicing just like, oh, this is fun. I can do this all day, every day. And that was my roadblock, getting enough oranges. So finally, Costco, getting those boxes delivered works well for now. But that was my dilemma of how do I get enough for a mass so everything's delivered to my house. And it works great in this machine. So it's simplified things.
And I hate to even bring this out, but just a word of caution with those types of machines, bring those juices for very long at all, because when we use the centrifugal juices, it actually, and so you're already losing a fair amount of the nutrients within the juice just by using that type of juicer.
So it's not a metal. Take a look at it. I mean, I appreciate it, and my goodness, I'm so open to hearing information. It's not like a cold press. I have another juicer that does all that.
Right.
But you're right. I drink it right after. So I'm juiced. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you.
Yeah. Just for anyone else listening, if you do opt for a centrifugal juicer, they are less expensive. They do work a lot faster. But they do when you use them. So they do break down the juice a lot faster. So you just can't really store them for very long. So it's just something to consider when selecting your juicer. I tend to opt for the more, now I don't have an injury that prevents me, so I would probably have a different consideration if I did that. But I opt for the cold press, the masticating juicers, because they do preserve a lot more of the nutrients in the juice itself. But just wanted to throw that out there.
Thanks, Justin.
yeah, but of encouragement on just trusting the plan and trusting that this is exactly what needed to happen because truly as Q said, you must show them. And so it might you look around and people they needed this length of time. We needed this length of time. We needed to have it get to this level of pain and discomfort and um not to where it's over, pretty a mild form of awakening. We're going through it bit by bit and it's being done incrementally, compassionate ways so that people don't lose their minds and that's why it's all event based because it has to be one thing after another and we have to get to certain milestones before we can proceed forward with the plan. But after a certain point, there's no going back. I mean, there's already so much information out there and so much has happened that you can see clearly that it's only accelerating. Like the senators the other day who were just listing all of the problems with COVID, how it was came from the lab, how big tech was censoring hydroxychloroquine and all these different things from it, and they were just going boom, 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 listing basically conspiracy theories in air quotes that was related to COVID, but doing it in a very public way. And it was amazing because I posted this video on my sit for violating their terms and conditions. So it's like our public affairs conference discussing things if big tech disagrees with it because they go with the WHO. Just, I mean, we all know this, but it's just amazing to witness. And so those little things are just adding to the layer for everyone else to start to realize, oh wow, these people who have been talking about it were right all along. And we've just been lied to. We've been lied to about this. What else have we've been lied to about that? And so it's just going to slowly start to unravel. And so that's what we're here for, is we're to not to force it on anyone, just to be those beacons and be that life raft for people to reach out to for support because it's going to be extremely difficult. Like, so just be ultra compassionate, ultra caring, just be loving and stand in the truth, but don't force it on anyone. Just be there for them to reach out because they are going to, and that's what we're here for. We're here to be that support. So again, Kath, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing all that, and it's a wonderful topic to bring up.
My pleasure. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else got something on their mind?
Well, I'll jump back in here for a second, Justin. It's only because you said something that made me really start to think a little deeper on something, and that's you just briefly said that in thinking of creating an environment down there where you're at in Mexico that would allow for people to come down there if they wanted to move down there, but mostly just to come down there and see you and Charlie and just see what that experience is like. And with all the talk of the SARE humanitarian projects becoming something that is going to be a new environment that we will live in and want to live in because of all the fakeness that has to go away, is will you have a humanitarian project of some kind? Money in any way would be able to contribute to that project? Thanks again.
Oh yeah, I mean, it'll probably be got the animals here, which I'm sure will just grow in, because right now they just have 20 plus and I don't know how many cats all living in their house and they don't have a really good facility set up. So that's going to be a big project is getting a good animal, like an actual animal sanctuary built and established. So that'll be a huge aspect to it. And then on top of that, I'm sure we'll do just lots of healing of just bringing people back to the mother and bringing people back to fruit and showing people how to go on juice cleanses and how to go through all these sorts of things and healing of that nature. So I could see that being very much a part of it. But it's all just going to flow naturally. We are working on a website that will hopefully be up for the public in I don't know, a month or so, is what we're hearing from Tony, who's kind of taking the lead on that. And so that'll be a great space to where we can start to, but it'll just grow and build as people, whomever decides to move here and whomever decides to join and be a part of this is going to add their particular flavor everything's going to be service oriented. So I don't know. So it'll look completely different than however that is. But I'm sure we'll have, and who knows what this whole Nasara Jasara is going to look like and back to the people. But it's basically just removing barriers for people to experience the abundance themselves, and then we take ownership as sovereigns to whomever we see fit and whatever projects we see as the right ones. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question in a vague kind of way.
No, it absolutely did, because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want to move to Mexico, but I certainly would want to come and see you too, and probably others that are connected to, because I think the people that are connected to you and really get energized by hearing it is the same energy that I want to be connected to, because I said, and you know, I have no idea at the potential of that healing and where it's going to lead me in my desire to, you know, contribute in whatever way I'm the whole planet Earth and all of the people on it, because it's just going to be a tremendous healing that needs to take place. I should say I can think of lots of people that I have shared, and I just think you and Charlie and Charlie's wife and others that have shared on your, you know, YouTubes and the other stuff that you put out there is that's the energy that I want to see be at the forefront of leading us in a new direction. So again, thank you so much for everything you've done.
I mean, that's the plan, is just to continue shining brightly and continue doing the work, and naturally, magnetically, those who are ready to, and we'll all just continue growing in that direction, you know, and always welcoming, always accepting, as long as people are willing